Welcome to Your Wedding Unlimited, a podcast for couples who want a wedding day that feels personal, authentic, and true to them. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you reinvent tradition and plan a wedding day that genuinely tells your love story. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. My name is Abby. If you're new here and you haven't listened before, I'm a wedding planner in the UK, and this podcast is all about wedding planning, all about wedding tips and advice and inspiration. So it is the perfect place for you if you are just beginning wedding planning, if you are right in the depths of it, if you are about to be at the end and have your wedding. It is the perfect position for you to be in listening to this right now, okay? And it's good. You should stick around. So thank you so much for joining. We are on episode 54, I believe. So there's a whole bunch of things for you to go back and listen to. If there's something specific you need, we have covered so many topics so far. So thank you so much for joining. I am very, very grateful. Today's episode is all about what I recommend as a wedding planner that you should be doing in the first 30 days after getting engaged. So that first kind of month or so, okay? So if you're listening to this right now and it's January, which it is right now, and that's the reason I'm kind of recording this at this point, because January, like December, January, February are like the peak seasons for engagements. There are lots of engagements happening at this time, and a lot of people kind of coming into this engagement bubble and being like, oh my gosh, we're planning a wedding, what do we do? So this is a perfect time for you to be listening if you've just got engaged. If you're listening at another time of year and you've just got engaged, it's absolutely still valid, but this is just the reason I'm recording it right now. We are surrounded by heaps of engagements and love and all of those good things at the moment. So I thought it was a good time to do it. We are going to get straight on into things as always. I'm not going to faff. We're going to get straight on into the episode. But before we do, if you haven't yet subscribed and you are enjoying the episodes and you love this podcast, then please do subscribe, follow, give us a 5-star review. It makes all the difference to me and the back end and the data, and helps me to grow and to reach more wonderful wedding couples like yourself, and it would mean the world to me. So if you could do that quickly before we get on into things, then that would be amazing. Thank you so much. So you are engaged. Usually people are engaged when they're listening to this podcast, so that's not unusual, okay? But this episode in particular, we are talking about this first kind of like these first weeks, these first days when you have just gotten engaged and you're celebrating and you're telling your friends and family and you're like, oh my God, and you're in a bubble. I call it the engagement bubble. A lot of people in the wedding industry do, because you are just wrapped up, literally floating around in this little bubble of excitement and love. And the engagement bubble is amazing. Like watching people be in the engagement bubble is amazing. And I always tell people, like, enjoy that. Okay. And this is my first tip for you here. If you're brand newly engaged and you are in this wedding bubble, the engagement bubble, and you're starting to get excited, and your instinct at some point is going to be to like, oh my gosh, now we need to start planning. I'm going to urge you, first tip of the day, to just soak it in, slow down. Okay. There is absolutely no rush. And when you're in this engagement bubble, at some point the bubble is going to pop. And when it does, you are then hit with this like, oh my gosh, we've got a wedding to plan. There's things to do. We've maybe got a deadline. Maybe you have in the back of your mind a year or a month or a date that you would like to get married in, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's actually only a year away or a year and a half away. Like, we got to get cracking. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is going to be a point where this hits you and you're like, oh my God, we've got to plan a wedding. I get it, you're excited, and I want you to be excited. There's no part of me on this earth that wants to take that away from you, but I want you to enjoy it, celebrate, soak it in, enjoy this together, tell your friends and family, soak it all in, and just make those memories. Like, there's no rush to rush on to the next step. Okay. I don't want you making any decisions at this point. You don't need to be booking anything. You don't need to be signing any contracts. Like, we are so way like far away from needing to make decisions on things like that. Okay. It's coming. And when it does, we'll be ready for that. Okay. But those first few days, even those first couple of weeks after getting engaged, you don't need to do anything. This isn't like a ticking things off the list kind of time. We are just enjoying the process. Like, we don't anticipate doing this again, right? This is going to be the one time that we are going to be engaged, getting to tell all of our friends and family, depending on what time of year it is, if you've just had Christmas and you've been able to tell everyone over Christmas, exciting, soak that in, don't rush. It's a really lovely time. And I want you to just keep yourselves in this little bubble of love and excitement for as long as you can. Give it a couple of weeks, enjoy it. It doesn't mean you can't talk about it by any means. I'm not saying don't talk about getting married, because obviously you're engaged, you're going to, but I don't need you to be like hustling. I don't need you to be getting your notebooks out and your spreadsheets and being like, right, let's do this. This isn't the time for that. Just soak it in for those first couple of weeks. Like I said, at some point, this bubble is going to pop. And I don't like to think of it as like a really like pop and straight back down to earth, off we go with wedding planning. It doesn't need to be that intense and harsh, but there is going to be a point where you come to this realization that you're like, I think all of that initial giddiness has worn off from the engagement. And now I think I'm ready to get down to business. There is going to come a point where you're like, I think I'm ready to do this. I think I'm ready. And I think we're ready to start having conversations and thinking about things and researching things. And that is so exciting. So exciting. When it does, I want you to pace yourself. Okay. I don't want you to, and some people will ignore this and do it anyway, and that's absolutely fine. There is no right or wrong. This is just me and the way that I would handle the process in order to capture every gorgeous little moment of engagement and all of these processes. Okay. If you jump the gun when it comes to wedding planning and you go straight from engaged to like deep in the research, intense booking, calling people, making meetings, signing contracts, all of that stuff, like that's a big harsh jump. And you will miss things if you don't stop and just take a moment at the beginning of the process, have some conversations, map out your vision, do your mood boards, ask yourselves a set of questions all around your ideas for your wedding day, the way you would love it to go, what your priorities are, what your priorities are not, what your budget is, just how you want the day to go in general, what your vision is, what your vibe is, and capture all of that first. You will be jumping the gun, making decisions, signing contracts, getting yourselves into contracts that you can't get out of with things that you may later have some doubts about, or wish that you'd maybe paused and asked more questions before, or just maybe wish that like, oh, we probably would have done something different if we'd have known that we were going for this kind of vibe before. I don't want you to go through that. I don't want that for you, okay? And this isn't to say if you just go ahead and there's a venue you've had your eyes on for years and you're like, I'm getting in there. I know this is the venue for us. I'm going to book that now. And then everything else, we can sit down and map everything else out later. Absolutely fine. Okay. Again, there's no rules. There's no laws. No one's coming to take you to prison if you don't sit down and do your vision boards first. Okay. But this is the way that I would be handling the situation if I didn't have any idea what we were doing. Okay. Some people know. Some people know this is the venue we'll have. This is the color scheme we'll have. This is the budget. We've talked about it before getting engaged. We know what our budget is. Like, we're ready to go type thing. That's fine. That's different. What I want you to make sure is that you've crossed all these things off before, and that you've just like touched points on these before you kind of go steaming ahead. So discuss your vision. One of my very first episodes of this podcast was called something like what to do before you start wedding planning, like how to plan for your wedding planning or something like that. And it's because there is a series of things that I recommend you do before you do begin the wedding planning, the wedmin. And it's not complicated. It's not boring. It's actually really fun. And I will link it below in the show notes for you to go and listen to the entire episode. But to break it down in a little nutshell for you, I always recommend setting yourself up for a date night when you are ready to begin wedding planning. Book in a date night at home, get in your favorite takeaway or cook your favorite meal, get some snacks and drinks and put some music on in the background just to like give these nice, cozy, fun vibes. And you're going to have a date night with your partner. And this is a wedmin planning brainstorming date night. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically spend the evening talking and communicating on what you would both love out of your wedding day. There's a really nice activity that I talk about in that episode that basically involves kind of noting down all the things you'd love to have each. You do it separately and then you come together and talk it through. And it really helps you to get a clear vision on, well, this is how I picture my wedding day going. And now I really understand how my partner pictures the wedding day going. Are they the same? Are they really different? How do we meet in the middle and both get the day of our dreams whilst, making it something that we both love and cherish? For me, this step is an absolute non-negotiable. And it's so fun because it's a date night and you're making it fun. You're starting your whole wedding planning process off the way that you mean to go on, with really nice, calm, exciting, fun vibes. You're not just like rushing ahead and then having to take some steps back and like rein yourself in when you're like, oh, I'm actually overwhelmed now. Like we're setting ourselves up for this, including in that date night, having conversations about boundaries and what you want to share with friends and family, what your budget might be, and what you can afford. Is it realistic? Do you both agree on that? What your priorities are, like what is an absolute must for us? Do we have to have the live band? Do we want a specific kind of food? Do we both want custom made outfits? Is it really important to us to have something really fun and unique, like a live painter there, or get the magician or something going on? What's a priority to us? And you have these conversations at the beginning of the process, and it genuinely sets you up on such a nice even playing field together. You both know where you stand. There's no confusion. You're in this together as well. I see so many couples still to this day where like one of them is just doing all of the planning, and it makes me really sad. I understand sometimes if I'm booking in calls with my couples and stuff, sometimes people are busy. That's life. Okay. If I can only catch up with one of you this time and both of you next time, absolutely fine. But I need to be speaking to both of you at some points throughout this process. Okay. I'm not just planning like an event for one person. This is your wedding day. So I think having these conversations and planning this date night is a really important thing to do at the start of the process, because it gives you this big picture overview of what you're expecting as well. Are we wanting to plan something that feels really cozy and intimate, and maybe we've got dark and moody colors to match the kind of venue we want to find? Are we wanting something coastal on the beach? Are we looking for a barn? Like, have the conversations before you go in. If you go and say, I'm going to look for a wedding venue now, but you've got nothing to filter down to find what's actually going to be within your budget, what kind of style you like, what kind of location, you are genuinely just looking at everything that's out there, and that's overwhelming. So if you can go in and say, oh, well, we did talk in our wedding night that we'd really love a barn. So let's see what's out there. Here's our budget overall. How much of that budget might we want to spend on a venue? Let's now look at what's available. Okay. The frustrating thing I will say about a lot of people in the wedding industry is they don't share their pricing on their website or somewhere that's readily available for you to find out what the budget is before reaching out. A lot of them will make you reach out or download a brochure, or you have to book a meeting in with them and then they send you a quote. For me, it bothers me so much. I always have, like, even if it's prices from this much, prices start at this much, at least then what your budget bracket is, and somebody can come to my website and know exactly what they're getting into. Okay, they can rule me out straight away if I'm out of budget, or they can say, yeah, okay, I'd be prepared to pay at least that, so let's get in touch. Okay, it's a really tough part about the industry and something that does bother me, but you may have to do some digging for certain things. That's just the facts of it. But if you can make your life easy from the beginning and know this is going to be over budget, this is going to be our perfect budget, these kind of things can make your life easier. Okay, so all of that to say, I really do recommend discussing an overall vision, and this might take some time. You might have more than one date night. You might make it a fun thing for the first month. We're just going to have a few date nights. We're going to talk about the wedding. We might start getting some inspo together on Pinterest or Instagram, and we might just start pulling together some mood boards and fleshing out the idea of what we want our day to look like. Are we going for something that is gorgeous, summer, bright colors, garden party feel? Are we going for something that is more monochrome, black and white, classic country house vibe? When you start looking through the inspiration, and you can do this at any point, but when you start looking through the inspiration and you start saving your favorite images and pulling them together on one page, you really start to see, oh, I can see a theme here. We really tend to like this style. We really tend to like these kinds of colors. We really tend to gravitate towards these kind of tablescape styles or these kinds of flowers. You start to narrow down the things you like, and you can start to see patterns. So it's a really good time to do that. A lot of the time, if you jump ahead and book a load of things and then you're like, oh, well, actually, we really like all these things. We're starting to realize here's our pattern, here's our vibe. We've already booked these things. So now we need to make those work with what we've already got. Sometimes it can be more difficult. Again, not to say if you've had your heart set on something from the get-go and you want to get it secured for your date, please do. This is just like, if you're following a process, which I love a process, this is how we make it fun and this is how we make it work. So that overall vision of the day, having these conversations, This is a really nice time to do that at the beginning of the process when you're kind of coming out the bubble. You want to keep it fun and lighthearted and not too heavy yet. Let's do the date nights. Let's have some conversations. Ask ourselves the questions. How many guests? Where do we want it? What time of year? All of these things. And communicate and chat to each other and say, are they the same? Are they complete opposites? Do we need to find a compromise? This is a perfect start so that you don't then say, oh, here's some suppliers I found, and your partner doesn't agree on any of them because you haven't actually had the conversation and realized that you're both on opposite ends of what you would love to have for your food or your venue or your music, things like that. Okay, so have the conversations and see where you land. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I just wanted to share something with you really quickly before we carry on. If you are feeling a little bit stuck when it comes to wedding traditions and you want your wedding day to feel more like you, then this is for you. My free wedding traditions checklist helps you decide what really matters to you, what to keep the same, what to adjust, and what to completely scrap, so that you can plan a wedding day that feels personal and authentic to you. You'll find it linked in the show notes now, and I really hope it helps. As you do start pulling in some ideas and thinking about venues and things you might do, you can start to plan things lightly, okay? And when you start planning, I want you to pull together your method of planning. How are we keeping track of everything? Are we writing it down? Have we got ourselves a wedding binder, old school and classic, to print things out and put them in? Have we got ourselves a spreadsheet? Have we got ourselves a document? There are so many templates and gorgeous things you can buy online to help you plan your day on spreadsheets or Canva templates or portals that you can get through somewhere else that helps you plan something. Are you going to set yourselves up with a separate wedding email? Is there something or somewhere that you can track all of the emails and correspondence coming in? Because it does get busy and it does get a lot and it's easy to lose. How are you going to track all of those things? You can start thinking about these things and pulling that together and saying, well, I know I'd really love to print some things out. So let me have a look. I'm going to get myself on Etsy and I'm going to see if there's a really nice wedding book binder that I can buy to kind of kickstart this process and get me thinking about some things. Alternatively, maybe there's a nice spreadsheet you can get yourself set up with to be prepared for when things start coming in, and you can start filling that out and tracking all of those details. There are really good apps as well. I did an episode all about planning and planning for your planning and the best methods to use. There are lots of apps now that can help you track RSVPs, help you to create a wedding website, all of these things. Now, this is obviously like a little bit further down the line, but you can start thinking about if there's anything out there that you would be interested in using, do a little bit of research, see what might be the best fit for you. What I essentially want you to have at this point is like a little wedding hub. You're starting to build this place that you can keep coming back to, that's got your ideas in it, that's got the things you love and the things your partner loves and the things you definitely don't want involved in your wedding day. Maybe you've started drafting down rough numbers for a guest list because you think, okay, well, we would love to start looking at venues first, typically the first port of call. So we need to know how big of a venue we need to get. How many people are we looking into? Maybe we are open to having more guests, but we're okay with having less if it means that we can save a bit of money there and have a specific venue that we want. So maybe you're just starting to draft some things out. You're pulling together your list of absolute must have their guests, your maybes, and your I'm really not that fussed if they declined and said no in the RSVP type people. Like, it's brutal, but sometimes the guest list requires that. You can start thinking about that light touch, definitely. Remember, this episode we're talking about is still 30 days into your wedding planning, 30 days after being engaged. So you might spend most of the month just soaking it all in and just being engaged. You might not do anything yet. Some people don't do anything for 2 or 3 months. Like, if you want to listen to this episode, essentially whenever you're ready to start planning, that's almost what this is, okay? But sometimes, and a lot of the time, I think, people get engaged and then they're like, let's go. Like, I'm ready to start wedding planning. And they don't want to wait. They don't want to hold off. So this is maybe my plan or my recommendation for how you start this process properly when you're just so excited that you can't contain yourself. But there is no right or wrong. Everybody's journey is different. Speaking for my couples or my friends and family that have been engaged and gotten married, there is always a different timeline. Some people are engaged for 2 or 3 years. Some people are engaged for longer. Some people have been engaged for about a year and a half. And everybody is at different stages in that planning. Everybody starts at different times and does things in a different order. Like, there is no right or wrong. I'm just giving you the best advice that I can from my experience. And I guess what I would be doing This is what I would be doing if I was newly engaged. Depending on how ready you're feeling at this point, how keen you are to get started with things, or how you're kind of feeling, you can definitely start doing some research and pulling together some ideas of people that you would like to contact. Here's some venues we are interested in getting in touch with. Here's some florists that I've had my eye on that I'm just going to keep notes of all their contact information so that when I'm ready to send those emails and reach out, they're all in one place. Or I've started looking for photographers because I know that they get booked up quickly and I want a really good one. So I've started pulling together some ideas because these are the things I want to get ticked off first. Okay. This is where it's a really good idea to do the date night that I've talked about already and pull together your priorities individually and as a couple, and pull together a list of things that are your absolute must-haves, or things that we really want to invest in most with our budget. We want to do really well, because you don't need to do everything and do it half-assed. Okay. This is really important to remember. I want you to lean into a few things really, really well. Okay. Particularly if you're on a budget and you're thinking there's no way we can do everything and afford to have all of these things. You don't need to. You want to lean into some things really well, go all in with those. And anything else you can do a little bit more budget, DIY. You don't have to do everything perfectly. And I think that's another thing I wanted to talk about, another little tip, another little bit of advice for this episode. Don't start your process off by comparing your day, your process, your budget, anything like that to other people or what you're seeing on Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and things like that. Okay. The wedding space is amazing and it's gorgeous and it's full of so much inspiration, but it is brutal. Okay. Even as a wedding planner myself, obviously the algorithm has constantly got me, because it's always wedding content, it's always wedding stuff, and this is a new idea and this is unique, and here's something that this couple did at their wedding and my friends did this, look at this first dance, it's so unique, and look at this and look at this, and here's 3 outfit changes. Okay, it's amazing and it's exciting and that is wonderful for them. But it's so easy when you are scrolling through and saving ideas and thinking, I like that, I'll come back to that, oh, that seems fun, to suddenly think, oh, we can't do all of that, so our wedding day is not going to be enough, ours isn't going to be as good. I want you to stop that mind process before it even begins. Okay, we're not even going down that road. I've done some mindset type episodes of the podcast in the past year. I'm definitely going to do some more, because wedding planning is not just about ticking things off your to-do list, getting stuff done, and just working your way through the process. There is a whole mindset aspect to wedding planning, I believe, that a lot of people don't touch on, a lot of people in the wedding industry don't talk about. And I think more couples need to consider this, going in with that positive mindset, staying in your own lane and focusing on your love story, your day, and how amazing that's going to be. What wow factor are we going to have on our day that's amazing? Let's not worry about trying to replicate what our friends did or what our sister did or what someone else we saw on Instagram did. It's our wedding day. So yes, we can take inspiration from the things we see. Yes, we can find little nuggets of things that we think, I love that, I'm stealing that, that is perfect for us. That's amazing, that's amazing. But we don't need to see everything and think, oh, I need to do that. And how am I going to live up to this? How am I going to make this as amazing? We focus on our own day, making our own day amazing, pulling in all the little personal details to make things feel intimate and authentic and all of those things, reinventing tradition in a way that makes sense for us. Do we need to follow everything that a wedding is typically supposed to be? Can we change it up? Can we make it feel more like us without feeling like we need to copy and paste every single idea from someone else's wedding? Okay. Inspiration is out there for a reason, to inspire. It's not a rule book. It's not, you have to follow this or else. It is inspiration. That's what it's there for. So having a really nice mindset going into the process is, I think, something else that's really important, because I think it sets you up for that success going forwards. And I think it's important. I regularly giving little pep talks to my couples as we are talking and, talking through things. And I can see on their faces that they're worried about something or other, and they're saying, oh, do you think we need to do this or this, and this might cost a bit more, do you think we need to do that, do you think it's something we should be doing, like all of these things. And I'm like, listen, let me talk you through it. Let me give you a pep talk, and just bringing them back to a space of like, this is your day. If you don't do this little thing that's going to cost you a few hundred extra pounds that you're just not really, your heart's not in it, you don't think it's worth it, you don't want to spend the money on that, it does not mean you're not going to have a good wedding day. Look at all the other things we've booked. The flowers, the food, the venue, the dress, the suit, all the things you've got sorted. What a gorgeous wedding day you're going to have. just because you're not going to have this thing that you've seen on Instagram or someone else is making you feel like you might need, does not mean it's not going to be amazing. It doesn't take away, okay? Your wedding day will be as amazing as you allow it to be. I truly, truly believe that. And I think it's so, so important. And I want you to go into the wedding planning process knowing that this is your journey. You are going to do it once, sometimes more. I understand that. But I like to encourage everyone going into this. No one's going into a wedding thinking, well, I might do this again one day. You're going into it thinking that this is it. Okay. So we treat it as so. This is our one journey. We are going to soak up every beautiful little second of it. And we are going to make the most of it. This is my journey. I'm not feeling pressure from other people. I'm not feeling the judgment. I'm letting that wash over me. I'm holding my boundaries. I'm making this a process for me and my partner to enjoy and have an amazing wedding journey. And that is the only thing that matters, genuinely. So I think I've gone off on a tangent and I think I've lost my point, but all of that to say, your mindset and the way we set ourselves up to go into this process is really, really important. So we've talked about quite a few things already. Again, this might only be the first 30 days of you being engaged. You're literally just easing yourself into the process. You don't need to do anything hardcore yet. Later down the line comes the contracts and the bookings and organizing your budget and tracking your expenses and research and, oh, I'm not quite sure about this, and asking questions and getting answers and then maybe feeling good about them, not feeling good about them. This isn't the right supplier for us. Now we've got to start the research process again. Like all of this comes, okay? This will come. But right now, with where you are at in the process, enjoy it. Soak it in. You are going to get questions almost instantly once you get engaged on when's the wedding going to be? When do you think it will be? Have you got any ideas yet? Do you know where you want to have it? All of these things are going to come in so quickly because people are excited for you and they want to know it's exciting and they want to share that joy with you. It's okay for you to just be like, no idea yet. No idea. It doesn't take away from the process. You don't need to have everything figured out. You can just enjoy it. So the first thing you need to do, like we've said, make the memories, soak it in, enjoy it. When that bubble pops, when the engagement bubble pops and you're like, I feel kind of ready. I feel like we're ready to start talking about the wedding now and start thinking about what we might want, then it's a good time to book in your Wedmin wedding inspiration date night. And I really recommend that everyone does that. It's a good time to sit down and talk through those things. Then you'll feel excited. That's when things honestly start kicking up a gear because you've talked about it now. Things start to feel real and you're like, okay, this isn't just an idea in my head anymore. We've talked about it out loud. We've maybe written some things down. We've maybe downloaded the app that we want to use to help track things. Maybe we've looked and done a bit of research and now purchased the spreadsheet we're going to use to track our budget and our guest list and suppliers and all these things. That's when it starts to feel real. Okay. And if you've done all of that in these first 30 days and you're ready to kind of start digging in, take it slow. We will do plenty more episodes on what to do next when you're ready to dive into things a little bit more and do more research and start ticking things off. I would honestly spend this first month just enjoying it. The days go quick, and yes, wedding planning will go quick and your day will come around fast, but you have so much time if you're going to give yourself time. Typically, people will allow themselves 18 to 24 months to plan a wedding. So a year and a half to 2 years. Some people do it with a year. Absolutely fine. Can definitely still be done. If you're listening to this episode, you're newly engaged and you're thinking, well, we want to get married in less than a year. Like we're ready to get married in the next 6 months. Then yes, maybe you do need to speed this process up a little bit and get on with things a bit quicker. But my guess would be that that kind of thrills you anyway. If you're giving yourself 6 months to plan a wedding, it's not much time. So you probably like to live life on the edge. That's fine. And honestly, if you've gotten engaged right now and you're thinking, I don't even want to think about starting to plan the wedding for, another 2 or 3 months. I just want to be engaged for a bit. Please do. I genuinely recommend that. Just being like, we're not doing anything yet. Nothing to worry about yet. It's really easy. And I think, as soon as you've got engaged and the algorithm finds you on Instagram and socials and all these things, you'll start getting inspiration and telling people, you need to do this. And I didn't do this for my wedding and I regret it. So I'm telling you so that you can avoid making the same mistake. All these kinds of things. It sets your heart going. It sets your brain going. And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, I must get going. It's not a race. Okay. There are certain things when you start planning a wedding that as suppliers, because we care and because we know what we're talking about, we will recommend, get your venue booked first, get a photographer booked in first. If there's specific people you've got your eyes on, people get booked up fast. A lot of photographers I know or see on socials will be booked up for a year to 2 years in advance because everyone wants a photographer and the good ones do get booked up. So no, it's not a race. There are things you might want to do first when you start planning. But if you are open and flexible to when you get married and you're like, we just want it to be in a year and a half's time or ish, we just want it to be in summer, doesn't matter if it's next year or the year after, like we're easy, then that's fine. Okay. You've got time, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So enjoy this first little section, this little journey of wedding planning as a couple. Have all the conversations, genuinely just talk to each other, communicate what's important to us, what's not. Set yourself a budget, set any expectations. How are you going to handle it together? How often are you going to check back in and talk about wedding stuff? Is it going to be once a week? Once every 2 weeks? Is it going to be like a Wednesday evening? Is it going to be a Sunday afternoon? Is it going to be a Monday? Like, when is a good time for you to put in the calendar to sit down? This helps, by the way, having this time dedicated to sit down and talk things through, particularly at the start, because it's really easy to just spend 24/7 talking about the wedding and thinking, oh, we've got 5 minutes now, let's just sit down and do some stuff. And then suddenly every day of the week you spend wedding planning and you're like, oh, I already feel stressed and overwhelmed. We don't want that. So setting yourself up like, we'll meet twice a week. Let's do something at the start of the week and the end of the week to start off with, see how we get on. If we need to adjust, we'll adjust. But we're carving out time for wedding planning without it taking over our lives. And we're still able to go on a date night without talking about the wedding. We're still able to spend time with the kids and go and do stuff that's not constantly wedding planning. That's really important. So I do recommend that as well. Honestly, just enjoy this first little section. There is plenty to come when you get into wedding planning, and I've got plenty more episodes coming to help you plan all of those things as well. So enjoy, and I hope this has been helpful. I will leave the links below, as I said earlier in the episode, about how to plan for your wedding planning, an episode I did recently, and maybe some mindset ones as well to help you get started in this process feeling really good. But I'm excited for you. Congratulations. This is going to be such a fun journey for you. And if you have any questions for me, if there's any episodes that you want me to cover, if you're looking through and you're thinking, you haven't talked about this yet, send me a DM, send me a message. There's an email in the show notes as well. You can contact me directly, and I would love to hear your input. I want to make this a podcast that is beneficial for you. So if there's anything you want to hear about, let me know. There are plenty of episodes I did last year that were specifically asked for by listeners of the podcast. So please do get in touch. Otherwise, I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode. I'm really excited and I cannot wait to chat to you. So I will see you then. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Your Wedding Unlimited. If you want help creating a wedding day that's personal, authentic, and true to you, head over to the show notes now. You'll find my free wedding traditions checklist to help you decide what to keep, what to adjust, or what to completely reinvent. And if you're ready for more hands-on support, you could also inquire about working with me there too. Make sure you're following the podcast to be brought back next Wednesday. Happy planning!